Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Oh, hi, dear ones. Welcome back to House of Joy. So happy you're here today. Today it's kind of a different one. It's a solo episode. It's just me today, and I'm going to be talking about the surprising truth about success and why I walked away from medicine. This came up recently, actually, at a family gathering that we had. So I wanted to tell you kind of what happened there and what it got me thinking about. And then I have a fun invitation for you at the end. But this whole thing brought me back to like stuff that happened, I don't know, 15 years ago, but how relevant it is to my life now. And I do think that when we think about the topic of success, when you hear that word, I would be really curious for you what comes to mind. But for most people, it is things like, the car you drive, the amount of money you have in the bank, a big job title, your dream house, some kind of recognition, for what you're doing. And I even looked this up. The American Psychological Association found that 70% of people define success like this in terms of career achievement, money, or social status, or whatever. And yet, I think that we are living in a time where the rates of burnout and anxiety and depression are higher than ever. And I think it is time for us to rethink this. And I've been doing this over the past 15 years because I gave up a very successful, I put in air quotes, a very successful, recognized career with a lot of status to do something that most people don't understand. So I went from a physician to a life coach. And, 15 years ago, I had a life that most people thought they would want, that, people that on the outside looked really successful. I also read this quote that Jim Carrey said, which is, I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of so they will know that that's not the answer. And it's so interesting because I was at this family gathering and one of the people there that I hadn't seen in a long time has been in my programs. And oh my gosh, it was so sweet to see her. She's like, I am so obsessed with what you're doing. It's helped me so much. I'm so grateful. And just the conversation with her was just so sweet. And I knew that she had been in the programs, but I haven't talked to her in a long time. So anyways, it was just so sweet and so confirming that even though lots of people don't probably really understand exactly what I'm doing now, the people who are in the programs do. And that's what's important to me. I also had an interesting conversation with someone who could probably identify way more with what I used to do. Okay, I get that. That's understandable. That comes with a certain status or a certain recognition. People assume that comes with a certain whatever level of income, or whatever. And that conversation was interesting too, because I found myself a little bit wanting to over explain myself. I didn't end up doing that, but I noticed inside of me, like, no, you gotta tell this person how cool it is, like what you're doing now. Instead of, I was kind of like, well, I was just kind of shied away from it and didn't, talk about it much at all, which is also fine. But it did make me think about what we all tend to think of as success and how we might define success and how I feel like the life I'm living now, I'm enjoying the kind of success that I really count as success. And I'm going to tell you that in a little bit. But I want to first kind of go through this because I think this can apply to so many of us because, I was talking to somebody, not a family member, but I was talking to somebody about this a while back about she has this amazing career and she doesn't love it. And she hasn't loved it for a long, long time, but she's so scared to make a change because she's established in that career. She has a certain notoriety, she makes this stable income, but what she really wants to do, and when she started, it was crazy because before, when she was telling me about her current job, her face looked all flat and her voice was kind of flat. And then when she told me what she really wants to do, she lit up. She was so excited when she was telling me about it. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. And this is exactly the way I was for years. Because even though being a physician came with credibility, this financial stability, a lot of applause, from people in my life, I think the truth that nobody saw was that I was really restless. And I was asking myself, like, oh, is this it? Like, I don't know if I love this as much as I thought I was going to. I was really, really, really missing my kids, you guys. And I had a successful, busy practice. Stevie was just starting his practice at the time. So we were both, had a busy practice. But I don't know, I was just craving more. And by more, I don't mean working more. I was craving more meaning, more time with my kids. I felt like also when I was in that position that I couldn't bring all of my quirky self to the table. So I always felt like there was a little part of me that, was missing. It wasn't the whole picture of me. And I also was still in a position then where I was helping other people heal, but I wasn't really healing the parts of myself or seeking healing for the parts of myself that craved more meaning, that were kind of burned out, that, hadn't really learned how to process my own life. And so if you've ever been there at a point where, like, on paper, everything looks great, but in your heart, something is missing, I think this is really going to speak to you. Because that definitely was me. And thank the Lord, I ran into some people. I actually took a course where it opened up a whole new world to me. And, back then my days as a physician were so busy. It's like, start, how you can imagine, start before sunrise, wake up, rush through breakfast, be at the clinic, schedule packed, back-to-back patients, paperwork that always followed me home, calls that sometimes interrupted dinner. I did end up going to, more of a part-time schedule, and that helped some. But I remember one night getting home from a long day, house was quiet, kids were finally asleep. And I thought to myself, I hadn't really had a good full conversation with my kids that whole day. And it hit me so hard. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to regret it. I don't want to miss out. And at the same time, I was telling myself, oh my gosh, you should be so grateful. Look at everything you have. It was hard to imagine, like, making a change back then because I had a great income and I had a great job. Walking away from that at that time felt impossible. I finally did it. But making that transition was really hard because people really respected what I did. And walking away from that left people going, what? Like, what is she doing? Is she crazy? It was like a decision that nobody really understood. And then a few years later, you guys, when I decided to become a life coach, can I just say, there were people in my life with things to say, like, how could you possibly do that? How couldn't you, like, if you were going to take a break from work for a while, I get that, but why go back to that? Like, why wouldn't you, just go back to your job as a family doctor? And so it took a lot of me working through my own issues, me working through caring so much what people thought, to figure this out. But I will say this. What I found in the meantime were the incredible, amazing tools of life coaching. And the conversations that I had with people there were conversations that I had never really had before. They were like deeper conversations about, like, are you really satisfied with your life? Do you love what you're doing? Is there anything that you would change? If you could change things. And it was like the first time that I admitted to myself, like, out loud, like, oh, my heart really desires something different. And I think that having these initial conversations that I had and learning some initial tools, like how to process my emotions, how to control and renew my own mind so that even if I didn't change my circumstances, I could learn to enjoy it more. Like, those initial conversations were so life-changing for me. It felt like I was coming home to myself. It felt like I had been holding my breath for years and finally I was breathing again. And one of the first tools that I learned was actually how to name what I wanted without immediately dismissing myself or saying, well, that's unrealistic or that's selfish. It's like naming my desires. And my desire was that I wanted to be with my kids way more. And at that time, that felt like a hard thing to reconcile because we had student loans and we had a new house and, we had a lot of things to figure out. But that, what I realize now, I don't think I realized this then, is that I had been so disconnected from myself. I had been so disconnected from what I really wanted that I just kept going on the treadmill of, go, go, go. And I never really stopped to say, like, okay, I'm doing the next thing and I'm having all of this quote unquote success, but do I love it? And would I choose it over again? And that was like the first breadcrumb to really what now to me is like a whole new life, to just a whole new way of living. And, eventually these tools, I started using them. I joined a coaching program. I started renewing my mind. I started processing my emotions. I started setting goals. And it did, and then eventually I ended up going to get certified as a life coach because I'm like, oh my gosh, literally in the span of 6 months, I've changed my whole entire life. I want to share this with people. Like, women need to know this. Women like me who think they're stuck in a certain way of living or, whatever, they need these tools. So it didn't just change my life. It ended up changing my whole way of being in the world, my work, so many things. It gave me so many powerful tools to stop outsourcing my worth. Because one of the things that I realized is, gosh, maybe the whole reason I even went to medical school in the first place is so that I could prove to everybody that I was worthy. So that I was just chasing something that I thought those things would give me. And then when I got those things, I'm like, oh, well, I still don't feel that way. This apparently is something that can't come to me from the outside. This is something that I have to accept from God and create for myself. So it really helped me so much in that way. It helped me to learn how to really process emotions instead of burying them or resisting them. It helped me to live my life from love, not fear, to learn how to live as my true self, to be connected to myself, to live from love and joy and peace and gratitude instead of always living in this cycle of like frustration or comparison or whatever. It changed all of my relationships, literally all of them. Every single relationship in my life has been drastically improved from learning these tools and teaching these tools. Another thing that I didn't expect is my health totally improved. Like, you guys, when I found these tools 15 years ago, I was my unhealthiest. So often, us physicians are taking care of everyone else and ignoring ourselves, which is what I was doing. And I feel like I have my health back and I'm so thankful. I'm stronger than I've ever been. You guys, I was at the gym today and rope climbs was on the agenda. I can tell you 100% for sure I would not have been able to climb that rope 10, 15 years ago. And I did like 3 rope climbs today. And I was so proud. And heavy deadlifts. I'm so thankful that I finally have been able to create so much, let me put it in air quotes, success in my own life, in my own health. I think one of the things that people thought, oh, this is going to be a terrible decision because you're giving up this financial security. Not true. Becoming a life coach has been the most unbelievable surprise of my life, you guys. The first year that I was in coaching, I doubled what I made my last year as a physician. This has been such a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I'm so thankful that I did not listen to all the people who were scared for me and like, what are you doing with your life? I feel like this sense of purpose and meaning are back. And I feel like I get to live a life where I bring my whole self. When I think of the things that I get to do in a week doing this, to me, it's just that is the definition of success. Doing something that makes you feel purposeful and meaningful, having the freedom to choose when I want to prioritize my family. I spend every Friday, you guys, with my grandbabies, and it is like so fun. I get to spend my afternoons with my Tommy boy who leads me on the craziest adventures. But I'm so thankful for that. I feel like I have this sort of deeper intimacy with Stevie and with the people in my life than I ever have. We just celebrated 25 years of marriage. And I feel like what I've learned and what I teach to my clients has just up leveled that to the next level. Um, I get to watch other women use these same tools to completely transform their lives. And I just have this sense that I've come home to myself, that I'm really living in my giftings, that I'm really living in the fullest expression of the gifts God has given me. And I just can't even tell you what that feels like. That to me is worth so much more than somebody looking on the outside and going, oh, well, I respect, that you're a physician and the status that that comes with. I could care less because I know what my experience of my life is on the inside. And I certainly didn't become a coach because I needed a new career. It's because I wanted a new life. And that new life has given me so much more than I ever could have imagined. So, when you think about for your life, what success really means to you, I have totally redefined that. Like, I said this on a podcast. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. I'm like, oh my gosh, one moment with my grandbabies is like 1,000 years of joy or something like that. And people have been sending me messages about that. And it's like the sweetest thing, but I mean that. Like, I feel like learning how to renew my mind, learning how to live with a mindset of abundance, believing in miracles, believing in the impossible, waking up to this one amazing, beautiful life. Like, to me, that is success. Deeper relationships, doing work that really lights me up. Like, give me that any day over the way I might have defined success when I actually started this journey years and years ago. So, when you think about it for you, I want you to ask yourself, how do you define it? What does success mean to you? And for me, real success is freedom to design my days, live in my values, be present for the people I love, make the kind of impact that I've been called to make. And building that kind of success has required of me certain skills that I've had to learn and build. Skills like emotional strength, learning how to really be with the full gambit of emotions that come with being a human and generating the emotions that fuel me every day. That sort of mindset strength, the ability to really renew my mind and keep myself focused on what I know is possible, what I believe God can do, on the positive side of every situation. The skill of setting goals. I'm in the middle, you guys, of living out a crazy season of having really big goals. And I'm doing this behind the scenes thing. So if you're in my behind the scenes experience, you get to watch me do it behind the scenes, setting big goals that require more of me to show up, that really challenge me in a way that, maybe my prior life didn't. The skill of resilience, really embracing fear and doubt and failure as part of the process. So I want to ask you this question. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you start tomorrow? And if success was measured only by the health of your relationships, what would you do differently this week? These questions will tell you more about your true definition of success than any achievement ever could. So, if this success conversation and sort of the transitions that I've gone through in the past 10 years stirs something in you, I want to invite you to the behind the scenes experience. It's still going on. You can catch up from the last month, but we're just getting to the good part, you guys, because first of all, I'm about to host the first ever live conference for Christian coaches and those aspiring to be coaches. And when you join this, it's called the Most Magical 90. When you join this behind the scenes experience, you get a free ticket to the virtual conference. So I invite you to that. That's on August 20th. The behind the scenes experience is being hosted in Facebook. And it's basically where I'm just coming behind the scenes to tell you what I'm doing, what I'm struggling with, how I'm overcoming setbacks, the things that I'm working on, what it really looks like to live the kind of life that I'm living behind the scenes. And I am having a ball in there. We're having so much fun. So if you're interested in that, the behind this ticket to the behind the scenes or the experience of coming behind the scenes with me comes with the ticket to the summit. I'm going to share my full story in depth there, and you'll hear from other women who've said yes to their calling before they felt ready. So it's like a no brainer. You get basically both experiences for the price of one. And this will really help you rethink your definition of success and what you want for your next season of life. Do you want to keep doing what you're doing? Are you ready for your next level? Do you feel that calling or urge toward more? And if you do, I totally invite you to these two experiences. Again, you get them both for the price of one. If you've ever wanted to like be in my world, but felt like, oh, I'm not sure about the investment for the coaching program or whatever, this is a good time to just come try the behind the scenes, come to our virtual conference on Christian life coaching. And again, for any of you who are coaches already or are aspiring coaches or lead in ministry in any way, or just feel like I really want to explore what my next level is, you're going to love these experiences. And we will drop the links for you in the show notes. So I hope you answer those two questions about success, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.